What's going on, guys? This is Mr. DeLorean here on today's brand new video. And today what I want to do is break down the trailer we got for The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 8, which is essentially the first mid-season finale of The Walking Dead Season 11 and is the official end to The Walking Dead Season 11 Part 1, aka the final season. But without further ado, let's hop right into the trailer for The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 8. So the first plotline I wanted to go over is Daryl, the Reapers, Maggie, Elijah, the Pope, and Leah, and the gigantic horde that Maggie and Negan and Elijah are now leading to the Reaper camp, aka Meridian. So in the first few shots, we get pretty much every Reaper standing on the walls of Meridian and everything, or aka the new Reaper camp, including Pope, Leah, Daryl, and all of the Reapers and everything, every single last one of them, since they are looking at something that could possibly come, make their entire lifestyle come to an end, which is essentially the entire horde that Maggie and Negan and Elijah are leading towards Meridian, which is very interesting, because obviously they are very concerned about what's happening, since Leah does mention, or ask the question of why are they moving like that, which is essentially all the walkers outside Meridian's gates and everything, or the Reapers community, because obviously, the Whisperers and how, Negan and Maggie and Elijah are now, gathering walkers to, invade Meridian, is they obviously have to use the Whisperers strategy of hoarding up walkers and everything, or herding walkers together and everything by going in circles to getting them all together. So Leah and the Reapers are probably really confused about why, they're all, staying in one area and everything, which is obviously, Negan, Maggie, and Elijah all on the inside, herding up and hoarding up the walkers to build, one massive horde to take down, the Reapers, which I cannot wait to see how that goes. Next, we get to see one of the Reapers on patrol and everything, probably, looking out for the group and everything, because in the previous episode, the Pope did have people going out on, trails and hunts and everything to hunt down, Maggie's group and everything, or their bad guys. So I'm assuming this is one of the Reapers out on, a hunt, or just, scouting trails and everything, but he does get pretty quickly surrounded by a bunch of walkers, which is what I'm assuming is from Maggie and Negan and Elijah's kind of horde and everything. Since this guy is 100% alone, and obviously being alone in the Walking Dead universe does not make you a really lucky person. And this Reaper does mention that something is seriously wrong and that something's going on, which obviously will be relayed back to the Reapers. We also get an overview shot of the horde and everything, and as it's quickly moving in on Meridian, which is really cool, because in the previous episode, episode 7, when we did see the horde, you could see that it was quickly growing to a really big size. So obviously the Reapers are not going to know what hit him and everything and what's coming. We do get to see the Pope in what I'm assuming is Meridian and everything, addressing Daryl and probably a bunch of other Reaper soldiers on a plan to take out the walkers. Or that's at least what I'm assuming they're doing and everything, is trying to figure out what they're going to do in this entire situation of all these walkers coming in. Next we get to see Negan and Elijah and everything in their Whisperers mask walking around what I'm assuming is around Meridian, since it does look like they're around smoke and buildings and everything, which I'm not sure if this is fog or maybe the Reapers deployed smoke, which is pretty ineffective against walkers. But we can see houses around them and everything, so I can assume that they're around Meridian, since I'm assuming Negan, Maggie, and Elijah want to attack at night and everything with this horde. But it's very interesting to see only Elijah and Negan together. Where's Maggie? Maybe she's off herding some walkers, but this is clear at night. Like I said, they're most likely going to use a strategy of attacking at night. Next we get to see Gabriel in a pretty abandoned building and everything. We don't get to find out what happens with him until a little bit later on in the trailer, but he hasn't been seen with a Whisperers mask yet and everything. Like I said, he does have plans for what he's going to be doing and everything later in the trailer, but it's very weird to see that he's not going to be with the group in the herd. Next we get to see what I do believe is Maggie telling by the sleeve and picking up something, what maybe a walkie-talkie, since obviously that one Reaper's seen maybe being taken down by the surrounding walkers, which like I said might be from Maggie, Negan, and Elijah's horde. So maybe this is Maggie picking up the walkie-talkie. Maybe she's gonna from that dead Reaper, and maybe she's gonna be listening in on the Reaper's plans, which would be really interesting, because obviously it would be a pretty smart strategy in my opinion. And also the dead body on the ground is wearing a glove that looks to be something that I think the Reaper was wearing, or something that the Reapers would be wearing, since I doubt she would be picking up a walkie-talkie from one of her own dead people. We then do get to see Gabriel and Maggie and everything in what I'm assuming is the Reaper camp, since obviously, or unless this is maybe before they invade the Reaper camp, they're maybe going over some strategy on what they're going to be doing. But they do look up and everything, or are looking up, and they do look pretty worried or stunned, or maybe even just trying to move very tactically. But Maggie has off her Whisperers mask and everything, like I said, or mentioned before, and then Gabriel didn't have on a Whisperers mask, or wasn't in the horde with them. So it's very interesting to figure out are they officially in the Reaper camp and everything, and why is Gabriel in there all of a sudden now? And maybe when Gabriel was going through that abandoned building, maybe he was in Meridian or the Reaper camp. Next we get to see Daryl and Leah on the Reaper or Meridian walls and everything, most likely looking at at the Horde as it's building up outside and everything, or that is until we see a massive explosion out in the distance and everything as Daryl and Leah are looking outside, like, you know, at the Horde or the Horde approaching, which I will go over more once we go over the sneak peek and everything for this episode, which is really tense. We do get to see Maggie walking around what yet again I'm assuming is Meridian and everything on the Reaper camp with a gun, like, you know, moving very quickly and like tactically. So I'm assuming this is as they're like, you know, invading the Reaper camp and taking down all the Reapers, since like I said, she has their gun like, you know, right there and I think probably ready to take down anyone at any moment. We do get to see Gabriel with a sniper and everything, most likely like, you know, taking out any Reapers who are maybe trying to kill Maggie or Elijah or Negan inside the Horde, or maybe that's what I'm assuming he's like, you know, trying to do kind of like what Morgan did for Tara and Daryl and everything when they were like, you know, breaking into the sanctuary in season I think 8, maybe trying to provide like covering fire. Maybe we do get to see a zooming in shot of Daryl and everything, and like I said, I'm assuming this is while he's on the Meridian walls and everything, on the Reaper camera walls, probably looking over the massive amount of walkers and everything. It does make me wonder, does he know the strategy that's going on and everything, or did he do like, will he assume these are actual whisperers, or will he figure out that these are like, you know, his people? Because I wonder if he just thinks, oh shit, these are the whisperers coming back to finish business on a new group and everything, or if he knows that these are his people. That's an interesting concept to think of, and I wonder what he's exactly thinking in this scene or in this situation. But also, you're gonna see a worried Leah and everything on the ground of Meridian and everything, so I do wonder, like, you know, what caused her to come down from the walls. Probably nothing that massive and everything, or it could be something massive, I don't know. Because as mentioned before and everything, Maggie was on, like, you know, the ground floor of, like, you know, the Meridian camp and everything, and now Leah is, so it does make you wonder, will they meet each other and everything? Will Maggie shoot Leah? Or if not, I do wonder what Leah's looking at, because she does look pretty worried or whatever. Next, let's move on to Alexandria, the storm that will be, like, you know, hitting Alexandria, because there looks to be a massive rainstorm or, like, you know, hurricane or storm hitting Alexandria, and how Alexandria will be invaded by walkers yet again. First, we get a shot of outside one of the houses in Alexandria, and we can clearly see, like, you know, the massive amount of, like, you know, rain, or you can say the scale of the storm and everything. It's very strong winds. I don't know why I'm starting to sound like a weatherman, but basically the storm is really bad. But as a crack of thunder hits and everything, we do get to see, like, you know, RJ going in to hug Judith, which is a really nice moment and everything. What I'm assuming is, like, you know, all of them inside the house as the storm's happening. And like I said, in this episode, Alexandria will be yet again invaded by walkers and everything due to the storm, as Aaron does mention in the trailer that, like, you know, the storm has, like, you know, knocked down the walls, which, man, they gotta get those walls fixed, like, real quick, because it feels like the walls are falling down, like, every single time we see Alexandria in season 11 so far. Next, you go inside the house of Alexandria, where people are probably running around trying to get, like, you know, everything settled in, yet again, defending against the walkers, trying to, like, you know, survive during the storm, although the storm is definitely the least of their worries. But in this shot right here, we do get to see Connie, who's in the corner, which does, like, you know, prove that she does make it back to Alexandria, which is really cool, and proves that, like, you know, eventually when Daryl finishes business with the Reapers, which we won't get to find out most likely until, like, you know, the second half of, like, you know, season 11, or season 11 part 2, as we won't get to see them reunite most likely until then. But it is cool to think that, like, you know, Connie will be making it back to Alexandria and everything after her, like, you know, horrific, like, you know, encounters with the feral people in episode, I think, 5. And obviously Virgil will be back with, like, you know, Alexandria, or will actually be at Alexandria for the first time, which is really cool. We do also get to see Gracie getting, like, you know, like a walker reaches through some, like, you know, boards and everything, pulls Gracie towards it, which is definitely, I don't want to say scary, because I have a feeling that she will not die at all, but it's definitely very interesting, and I wonder who will save her, or if the walkers will just start to break into the house, which yet again could happen. We do get to see Virgil come in, and I'm assuming save Gracie, although, like, you know, could be a different, like, you know, cut shot and everything of, like, you know, different walkers trying to break in from different positions. But we do get to see Virgil come in and stomp on a walker and everything, or try to defend what I'm assuming it might be Gracie. We do get to see Lydia and everything, which is just, you know, Lydia, but she's, like, you know, in Alexandria too, which is pretty cool, and she's in, I'm assuming everyone's in the exact same house, so, like, you know, while this whole storm and, like, you know, walker invasion is happening, we get to see people like Rosita and Carol, and I'm assuming, like, you know, Kelly and a bunch of other people boarding up some windows and everything, probably to prevent against a storm or against some walkers, which reminds me of Call of Duty Zombies. I don't know why. That's actually very random, but it kind of does remind me of Call of Duty Zombies, like, you know, all of them barricading the windows. But then we get to see people like Diane, or at least I think that's her name and everything, one of the people from the kingdom, opening the doors. Rosita goes out to fight walkers and everything. Obviously, we did see this in the season 11 trailer, which one, like, Rosita was going out to a storm and then coming back in all soaking wet, which you do get to see in this trailer. And maybe this is Rosita going around the house trying to take out as many walkers as possible. And I think, as I think she does mention in this trailer, is that, like, Alexandria is flooded, besides, like, with water, with, like, walkers now after, like, obviously Aaron did mention that the gates did fall, or the walls did fall due to the storm. So maybe she's going out to, like, thin the herd of, like, walkers in Alexandria and everything, and thin the herd of walkers trying to get into the house and everything through, like, the boards. Which reminds me a lot of Rick in season 6 when, like, Carl got shot and everything, and then they get back to the house and then Rick just goes maniac mode outside and just leaves the house and everything and goes, like, massacring walkers, which is assuming what Rosita will go do and everything with her badass, like, really weird looking weapon, which I still have no clue what it's called and everything, or even if it's even called anything, but how it kind of has, like, the sword shark and everything, which I know my sharks, but I don't even know what the fuck I'm saying, but a really cool weapon or anything that, like, it looks very unique and everything. But she goes out to fight with it and everything. I'm assuming then the herd of the walkers in Alexandria. We're gonna see Virgil and everything and all the rest of the kids and everyone standing out, like, in the hallways and everything, as I'm assuming Rosita's leaving, and yet again another confirmation that Virgil's here, which is really cool. Next we get a very quick but terrifying shot of the windmill in Alexandria, I think catching fire through a window and everything, and I'm assuming this will be maybe from some, like, lightning and everything, as it'll, like, get struck and then catch on fire, which would be really scary, since obviously Alexandria is already in a weak enough state and everything, and now another building catching, like, fucking, like, blazing and then possibly spreading to other buildings is not a good look for Alexandria and everything. And, like, obviously if they all go out, they might get, like, hurt by the storm, like, hurt by walkers. So this is definitely a very eye-winding shot that goes by really quickly. We're gonna see Rosita slicing and dicing some walkers outside with her badass weapon, which is really cool. We're then gonna see Gracie and Judith turn the corner in the house and everything. We're gonna see a walker that's inside the house, which is, like, scary. Maybe, like, Gracie will use her training that Judith did train her with, or her training that Judith, like, like, gave to her and everything, and maybe kill a walker, which would be really cool, since I don't think we've seen her, like, Gracie get a walker kill yet. So maybe this is that chance for that and everything, but they better do something. As the last and final shot of the trailer, you can see Rosita re-entering the house and everything, all, like, soaked, maybe after killing, like, a bunch of walkers, or maybe killing all of them. I don't know. Maybe she'll go out and just, like, free Alexandria of all the walkers, which would probably be a really taxing job, since, like I said, in season 11, every time we see Alexandria, there's something going wrong with, like, the walls falling down, walkers getting in. It's just a mess there and everything. I do feel like, I hope the Commonwealth or someone will come in soon or anything and help them. Now, before we did end the video and everything, I did want to go into the sneak peek that was also released for this episode, because it does reveal a lot of really cool and interesting information. Basically, in this teaser, it's at night and everything, and all the Reapers on the Meridian walls basically looking out for the massive Horde, which you do get to see the massive skeletons outside their walls and really close. And basically, Leah asked where Daryl was and everything, and says he was making arrows for, like, to take out the walkers, but she says you won't need them and that the walkers are scattered, which sounds like a bad thing, but then we get to see what happens. Basically, mines start going out and everything outside the walls, and basically the Reapers has set up a massive minefield for the walkers, which I'm assuming maybe was for other people, or maybe they knew the Horde was coming. They had time to, like, set up the mines, which is a really scary concept for a character such as, like, Maggie, Negan, and Elijah, since they are among the walkers. I'm assuming they don't know exactly where the mines are, which, like, area they are in. And we also get to see the shot that we did see in the trailer with, like, Negan and Elijah walking the field, so I'm assuming they'll have to be really careful to not step on a mine. And basically, before the sneak peek ends, the Pope does get Leah and Daryl's, like, attention or anything, and basically tells Leah to prepare something. I think it's called the Schwaza or something. It's just a very weird name. I'll even play the audio clips so you guys can listen to it and maybe, like, try to make out what it says.
Sure. Ready to watch it.
But he does, like, say a very weird name according to, like, YouTube's subtitles. And basically, Daryl does say, what's that meaning? It's some form of weapon or, like, some form of strategy or something that he does not know anything the fuck about. And basically, Leah does say that's how we end this, which is a very scary concept to think that it could be this, like, gigantic, like, and, like, world-ending weapon. Or at least that's how they make it seem and everything, with Leah saying that's how we end this, which makes it seem like it's a very threatening weapon to our, like, characters. Like, is it a nuke? Is it, like, a high-powered gun? Is it, like, a tank? I'm not sure. But that was all the trailers and sneak peeks we have for The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 8 and everything. I'm very excited for this episode, since, like I said, it's the first mid-season finale we're getting for Season 11 and the official ending to Part 1 of Season 11. And this episode does look like it's going to feature a lot of really insane things, like, Daryl and, like, the Reapers and everything, and their maybe possibly huge secret weapon, and how they're going to handle this, like, Walker invasion, or, like, from the Horde and everything, and what exactly is going to happen with Maggie, Negan, Elijah, and Gabriel and everything, and like, Maggie, Negan, and Elijah and everything being in that minefield and trying to get together walkers, and just in general being in a Horde with like, dressed as whisperers, which is just a really cool concept in my, like, mind and everything, and exactly how this will go, because obviously it's a mid-season finale. They're not gonna like, leave us dry and everything without giving us some things of like, maybe some Reapers dying, the Horde breaking into Meridian, and something happening big, and maybe we'll even get a reveal of what, like, the Reapers or the Pope's like big weapon is. And like I said, I don't exactly know how to like, pronounce what he said. I think it's the Najwa or something, but whatever it is and everything, they definitely made it sound like it's a very devastating, or at least like, weapon to be feared. And obviously our characters like Maggie, Negan, and Elijah have to be very careful in the minefield and anything, and not to step on anything, which I'm very scared for Elijah, since obviously I know they won't kill off Maggie or Negan, but I'm definitely very scared for our characters in this episode, since like I said, it's a mid-season finale. Anything can happen. They're gonna, like I said, not leave us dry, and they're gonna go all in with it. And also, I guess you could say as a mini subplot and everything, what will happen in Alexandria with the massive storm, the Walker invasion, and like, the walls coming down, and what exactly will happen with that and everything. Will there be any deaths? And just, I'm excited for it. But like I said, that was my breakdown for The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 8 trailer and sneak peeks and everything we got for, like, Episode 8 as far as I'm concerned as of now. I'll make sure to link all these trailers and sneak peeks down below in the description, so you guys can take a look at it all for yourselves and everything, which I do highly recommend as per usual. And yeah, that was all for today. Make sure to comment down below what you guys are most excited for to see in this episode or anything. Are you guys most excited to see the Horde and everything with Maggie, Negan, and Elijah, and Gabriel and everything, all like, dressed as whispers leading the Horde to Meridian? Are you most excited to see, like, them invading Meridian and everything, and possibly the end of the Reapers, or a lot of Reaper deaths, and just like, war in general, and just that Horde? It's just a really cool concept in my head. Or are you guys most excited to see, like, what goes on in Alexandria with the storm and like, Walker invasion and all of that? But yeah, those are all for today. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more latest in the Walking Dead universe, and more breakdowns, reviews, theories, and stuff like this. And yeah, see you guys later, my amigos, and peace out.